All you want to do is surf, Noah yelled. Trey, I'm tired of the beach, tired of sunburns and sore muscles and learning to surf. We go there all the time. You either go to work or go to the beach. Nothing else. You're boring. And all you want to do is find a club or a bar, get drunk, and meet people who don't have a brain, I said, pulling the new wax from the bag and setting it with the 2 new blue board shorts, one for me, one for him. This is for you. I found your favorite color. I tossed Noah the board shorts, hoping the gift would settle him down. He let them fall on the floor. You are hopeless, Noah yelled. I want more than a brain-dead surfer for a boyfriend. You know I lived for the ocean. That's why you dated me. That's why I am not dating you anymore, Noah screamed. I'm tired of smelling like suntan oil and having sand everywhere and your dripping suits hanging in the shower all the time. We don't have a living room. It's storage for your boards. You drape your towels over everything. I can't invite friends over. Not with the apartment looking like this. It looks nice. It looks like beach trash, Noah screamed. This is my place. I want you out. Today. Calm down, I said. Then realized what he meant. You're kicking me out? I pay half the rent. Noah went into the other room and came back with a wad of bills. He threw them at me. Get all your towels and boards and whatever out of my life. Now, I said, picking up the bills. Where do you expect me to stay? I don't care, Noah said. You love the beach so much. Go live on it. You're kidding, I said. For an answer, Noah pointed at the door. Now. Anything is better than dealing with him. I packed up my 3 boards, my phone, laptop, my clothes, a couple of books, and the rest of my things. Everything I owned fit into my car. As I took the last trash bag of my clothes out, Noah wadded up the shorts I had bought for him and threw them at me. You wear them. I can't believe I ever fell for you, he said. Go jump in the ocean. You smell like sweat. It's called work, I said. You should try it sometime. As I drove off, I pulled up my phone and called a couple of people to see if I could stay with them until I found a new place. The answer each time was, sorry, we don't have the room. I knew of a secluded beach away from the main strip. It was on private property, but I could be sneaky, and I'd only camped there a couple of nights. Tomorrow I'd look for an apartment. After a short drive on paved roads and a longer drive on unpaved, I arrived to sparkling waters and small waves. I found a spot under the palms to set up camp. The beach had warm sands, warm water, was surrounded by trees, and best of all, no tourists. I had been here twice before, but only for a couple of hours, not a couple of days. I needed to decompress, and I did my best thinking out in the water. A quick change to board shorts, I grabbed my surfboard and rowed out. The water was warm and turquoise. The waves were mild, just barely big enough to have a crest, and the wind was just strong enough to sway the palm fronds a little. The high wispy clouds didn't do anything to block the sun. A good day to relax. I caught a couple of waves, then floated out 100 feet offshore and laid on the board staring at the sky, my legs gently kicking and my arms flailing in the water. My luck with boyfriends had never been good. I must have been drowsing for half an hour when the first sting erupted on my left leg, a huge pain that made my leg burn and go a little numb. It spread up my leg, then to the other. I jerked my leg out of the water so fast that I unbalanced on the board and rolled into the water, into the bright blue bubble of a Portuguese man-o'-war, a blue-bottled jellyfish. Its body is only a couple of inches across, but its string-like tentacles can stretch dozens of feet. They don't travel alone either. A cluster of brainless jellyfish had floated near me. Both my legs stung so bad my eyes watered. A huge welt exploded on my side. Shit. My board had slipped away from me, and I tried to swim to it. Even attached to the surfboard's leash, it was too far. The pain increased. I tried to swim and saw another of the jellyfish floating on the surface. It hurt too much, and though I tried to swim, I gulped water. I had to get to my board, or to land. "Help!" I yelled, but no one was around. I tried to ignore the pain and swam for my board. The current carried it away, even though it was attached to my leg. I gulped more water. Something burnt my cheek, and when I went to block, it got my hand. Somehow, I was below water, flailing about. This can't be happening. I've been in the water almost daily for years, and to drown like this, stung by jellyfish while swimming? I punched to the surface, barely able to get out a single help, before I sunk under. The pain from jellyfish tentacles was excruciating. My board floated only a few feet away. Maybe I could reach it underwater. I followed the cord, but I couldn't ignore the pain any longer. Powerful arms grabbed me from behind, and in seconds we were clear of the jellyfish and on the surface. I coughed, and someone's hands guided mine to the board. The other person lifted me, pushing me onto the board. I clutched the board and coughed again. My hand had red welts all over it. I pulled myself onto the board and looked at my side. A huge patch of intense redness. My rescuer treaded water, but with one hand he plucked off the tiny jellyfish strands. His touch almost tickled. Long golden hair that shimmered, large green eyes, and a mouth that silently laughed. He reached up to my face and plucked a thin string from my cheek. Tiny scales covered his skin. They were his skin. Each time he moved, the scales reflected a rainbow of colors. He smiled, warm and genuine. I grabbed his hand and held it up. He had webbed fingers. On one arm he had a string of polished stone beads around his wrist. I gaped, not believing, as he slid beneath the waves. I watched as he disappeared in the depths. A minute later he returned, carrying some kind of shell. He held it in his hand, gesturing peace or friendship, then wiped a finger on whatever was in the shell and spread some kind of paste on my face. The pain chilled and eased. "Who are you?" I asked. He took the cream and smoothed it on my ribs, then lifted my leg and massaged it into the welts. Wherever the ointment touched, a cool sensation calmed my skin. "Thank you," I said. He smiled as if he understood. Then he slipped the surfboard leash from my foot and towed me and the board to the shallows. Oh my God. He didn't have legs, but some kind of a long tail ending in a horizontal flipper, like a dolphin, except he is covered in scales. The poison from the jellyfish stings is making me see things. We stop in 4 feet of water, and I swung my legs over the edge of the board and sit up. I tapped the board a little, and my friend nodded. He grabbed the board and pushed himself up until he sat next to me. The board sank a little under our combined weight. The man flicked his tail like I would kick my legs. "Do you understand me?" With a slight blush, he played with the stone beads on his wrist. When he looked at me, his eyes echoed his smile. "What's your name?" He opened his mouth as if to talk, but instead, he sang. A wordless melody. I found myself staring into his eyes, forgetting about the jellyfish, getting dumped, and having to find an apartment. His song opened up a longing deep inside me. I wanted to swim the depths, race a killer whale, and play tag with a shark. I wanted to dance with the dolphins. The man laughed, a magical, musical sound, and took my hand. He pulled me into the water, held me, and suddenly we swam faster than any board I've been on, faster even than a jet ski. Circling the beach, he made a gesture pointing down. I held my breath. Deep underwater we swam, startling orange and yellow fish. He took me along a coral reef, through sunlit waters, and back to the surface. His joy was infectious. We both laughed, and then we raced the waves. We caught one and rode it into shore. "No one is going to believe this," I said. He shrugged. "Wait a minute," I said, and ran to my car to get my phone. I had to get a picture. But when I returned, my friend had gone. About 50 feet offshore, his wake ended, and he had disappeared. I ran back to my board as fast as I could. "Please, come back. Please. I'm sorry." He didn't come back. He had left the shell with the cream on my board. "Don't go." I sat on the edge of the beach as the sun set, turning the clouds into fire. My friend didn't return. I waited all night, and the next day, I didn't see him, nor the day after that. I went to work, found a place to stay, but every afternoon I could, I came back to that beach and surfed. But no matter how hard I looked, I could never find him. 2 weeks passed. My new place was a low-budget studio apartment not far from the beach. It didn't have a lot of room, but it had enough for me and my boards. I placed the shell he had given me on the windowsill, where I could see it every time I entered, and remembered him. I sketched what I knew about him, and each time I remembered a little more. The slickness of his tiny scales, the gentle way he rubbed the ointment into the welts, the way he laughed and sang. I never forgot the beauty of his song. One Saturday morning, I strapped my board to the top of my car, packed a lunch, and was ready to leave for the private beach when somebody knocked on my door. I opened it. He had long golden hair, brilliant green eyes, and a rainbow tie-dyed shirt. A yellow surfboard with a green stripe rested on the ground behind him. He casually spun the stone beads on his wrist and hummed the same melody from 2 weeks ago. My friend leaned against the door, unsteady on his legs. His smile was full and genuine. It was him, but human. I didn't know what to say, but he broke the awkwardness. "Do you want to go surfing?" he said with an accent I've never heard, and then he laughed. That beautiful musical sound had haunted me since I had met him. He smiled shyly. "Maybe we can go dancing with dolphins?" "How did you know that?" I said. My friend leaned in, giggling. Magic. His legs wavered and he fell forward, and I caught him. Skin warmed by the sun, hair that smelled of salty air, eyes filled with joy. A giddy happiness filled me as I held him. I've been looking for you everywhere. I missed you. I couldn't find you. I hugged him desperately, not wanting to let him go. I don't even know your name. I like Dolphin. He placed a finger over my lips to quiet me and laughed. Can I live with you now? I made you this. He held up my hand and slid a stone bead bracelet on it.